For the people who often have one-night stands, how do you do it? I personally can't even fathom kissing a stranger, let alone having sex with one. Also, whenever I meet people in a bar or party, it never seems like the night will end in us having sex. The furthest it goes is exchanging contacts, to be honest. Story 1. Do you want to go to my place for a drink or tea? Or whatever is culturally appropriate. After initial flirting and the event winding down, if you can't host, ask if they live alone and how far away they live. Offer to walk or share a ride with them, or hint at wanting an invite. I don't like one-night stands either, but have heard it all at this point. Story 2-1. See her in the bar, club, or party. Think she's attractive and that you might have a chance. Go talk to her and figure out if she's any fun. Flirt. Start slow, but increase the intensity semi-aggressively if she's receptive. Find out where both of you live or are staying. Reveal this in casual conversation. Say something like, I'm in town on business and staying at the downtown Hyatt. How about you? Or, I live up on Front Street and love the neighborhood. How do you like it here? Initiate physical contact while flirting, like grazing her arm or shoulder, or guiding her waist with your hand while you're walking through the venue. Should feel natural, not forced. If she's receptive and reciprocates, ask her to dance or do something else where you two can get close together. When it seems appropriate, meaning the conversation has been flowing for 30 to 60 minutes and you're both clearly interested, ask her, are you interested in getting out of here? That's the universal code for, do you want to go somewhere private? Get to wherever you're going safely, whether by walking, cab, or ride service if you've been drinking. Pour each of you a nightcap. Put on some music and proceed with intimacy. Be sure to wear protection that you've provided, as you don't know this woman well. 10. If she stays the night at your place, be a gentleman in the morning and make her a coffee while you call her a ride. I wouldn't recommend driving her home unless she asks and you think you might want to pursue a relationship. If she's not interested in seeing where things go, she probably doesn't want you to know where she lives and might get uncomfortable if you insist. Addendum. Don't pursue this if either of you is overly intoxicated. Buzzing is fine, though. One-night stands don't just happen. They're based on chemistry. If you both don't feel a spark, it's unlikely that either party will be receptive to the question in step 6. Story 3. Sexual compatibility and chemistry are key in a one-night stand. It starts with a spark and ends with a satisfying experience for both. Clear consent and respect go a long way to ensure everyone involved has a good time and leaves with positive memories. Plus, it's a chance to let go without the weight of expectations. Just two consenting adults enjoying a moment of passion. It should be simple, safe, and fun. That's the unwritten rule of casual encounters. Story 4. The key is, from the start, there should be no getting to know you better stuff. Should be all flirt, no substance. Obviously, superficial stuff is fine, but any more than that and you're setting yourself up for a misunderstanding of the situation. When I was single, if I was looking for a one-night stand, I would be very forward. If there was chemistry, I would tell her as much, and within 30 minutes or so, I would ask where she's sleeping tonight or tell her that I'd like to take her home later. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm a bit of a romantic, so I always felt a bit ashamed or awkward doing the whole, last night was fun, do you need a ride or something? This is half the reason I typically went the friends with benefits route. Story 5. It's actually more awkward to kiss them than to have sex with them. Kissing is usually a way of showing affection and that you like them. It's a bit weird since a one-night stand is basically, let me use your vagina to climax and then we move on. Story 6. I can't. A one-night stand seems so unappealing to me. I need to bond with a woman before I'm ready for this. Emotionless sex is just a form of mutual masturbation, to be honest. I've done that. I felt like shit, depressed every time, and I'm old enough to know better now. Kudos to those who can sleep around without feeling bad about it. It's not for me. Story 7. Did it to make up for the lost time of losing virginity later in life and due to low self-esteem. Took whatever girl showed interest. Slowly getting better with self-esteem. Story 8. You will be shocked to learn there is often alcohol involved. I always looked at it as people temporarily meeting a need. The next morning was usually a bit awkward, but not always. I have been out of that game for over 30 years, but it is likely not much different these days, I would guess. Story 9, married 20 years, but before that, I did have a few, and it was very different from the sex you have in a relationship. I would almost equate it more to masturbating with a partner than the sex I have with my wife. There's just not much meaning there. You're just getting off. Don't get me wrong, it can be a lot of fun, but it's just in the moment and then you move on. Story 10. One-night stands are overrated, in my opinion. I've learned that it's not worth it to exchange your energy with strangers, and the risk of contracting sexually transmitted diseases is too high. Story 11. It all comes down to only caring about the release. Once the release has occurred, you wake up and realize you can control yourself again. I have actually experienced this to prevent myself from a possible one-night encounter with someone I would definitely never consider when sober. Story 12. My belief. Most people aren't having one-night stands that often. The weekend hookup is a friend with benefits or friend buddy in their contact list. It's rare to be with the person you met 2 hours ago. I also believe all one-night stands have various degrees of loneliness, alcohol, and spite. Sometimes all three are very present. It's why it's a walk of shame the next morning. Edit. Spite means trying to even the mental score with someone else. Maybe a recent breakup or divorce. Maybe anger with someone. I am not saying they are spiteful to their one-night stand partner. Story 13. It's partly looks, luck, and environment. I knew someone who had one in under an hour from hello to pants off. They met at a nightclub aboard a cruise ship. He was extraordinarily attractive, though. If you're asking how you wrap your mind around it psychologically, that's equally complicated. Some people enjoy the thrill while others do it to punish themselves, and many reasons in between. Story 14. There's an unspoken agreement that it's about the here and now, without the emotional investment. I make it a point to be upfront about intentions. Transparency is key. It's like we're actors in a scene that gets cut as soon as the credits of the night roll. But even within this fleeting encounter, there's a responsibility to be respectful and ensure everyone's on the same page. In the end, it's all ephemeral, like a dream you recount in fragments, remembering the thrill more than the storyline. And in the morning, regardless of how seamless the exit, one can't help but feel like a player in a game that resets with every sunrise. Story 15. Psychiatrists describe risk-averse or risk-taking as different personality types, and maybe that's all there is to it. Some people, like myself, are risk-averse. We won't do things, such as one-night stands, that carry a large element of risk. Others are risk-takers. They get excited by the risk. It makes them feel alive. Story 16. Usually, for me, the vibe was right. We met, clicked, and within an hour, she and I were already kissing and making out. Once the making out starts, it's pretty much going down. Then the girl always says a variation of the same question. Didn't you say you live nearby? Or, would you like to come over for some coffee or something? It happens. It's just something I don't go out looking for. It just happens. Edit. Don't. I really hate Apple autocorrect. It's getting worse and worse with every single update. Story 17. They just happen. You never have the goal of having a one-night stand, but sometimes the passion is there. I've been fortunate to have a handful, and I've never regretted any of them. Often, I've tried to progress into a relationship from a one-night stand, but both parties have to be on board for that, so rejection sometimes follows. Safety and communication are key. Most recently, I was at my local dive bar, and a group showed up after a wedding nearby. I hit it off with one of the wedding guests, and we spent hours at the bar getting to know each other. She was staying at an Airbnb within walking distance of the bar, so around last call, I offered to walk her home. We get to her Airbnb and we make out outside. Quite passionate. We wanted to continue, but she had other people staying with her at the Airbnb, so we made plans for coffee the next day. The next day comes, we exchange some texts, and she invites me over to the Airbnb. The other guests had already checked out, so it was just us in the whole home. We drink our coffee on the balcony. I make some flirty moves, then we progress to the bedroom. It was mostly just foreplay as we didn't have protection, but we both finished. It was a lovely morning. We had obviously exchanged information, but she was flying back across the country, so I think we both just scratched an itch. In any case, that's kind of how they unfold sometimes. Story 18. I just used Ryan Gosling's line from the movie Crazy. Stupid. Love. Hey, you want to get out of here? It hasn't worked yet because I don't look like him, but I'm going to keep trying. You can't make any money if you don't ask for the sale. Story 19. You ask. It's all about communication, and you both have to be into it. If you're a guy not into one-night stands, you don't have great odds of being asked to have one. Ultimately, not everyone you meet is a lifelong partner, but sometimes you meet someone you can enjoy some time with. Story 20. Two of my most memorable hookups were, in 1990, I was about 20 and she was 18. We met in a club and could barely hear each other. We danced and her hands were everywhere. We went to the bar for drinks, and the chemistry was amazing. We got a cab, and again, hands were everywhere. We arrived at my parents' place, turned on the TV to mute the noise, and spent the night together. Fast forward to 2004, and I had a blonde friend. Nothing was going on, although I fancied her. Her brother was a carpenter and had just been part of a team that built a gay bar in my town. He and the rest of the team were invited to the opening, so he invited his sister, and she invited me. During the night, I was at the bar, and two guys approached me and made an offer. I wasn't interested, not even curious. I said, "No, thank you," flattered but no. I pointed to the dance floor and said, "See that beautiful blonde? She's my girlfriend." This gave them the hint and they left. When she returned to the bar, I told her we were now a couple. She said, "Well, better put on a show," and we kissed. We had a very passionate yet sadly brief relationship. She was a wonderful woman. I hope she is well. As I write this in my quiet bedroom, I remember those cool, sex-positive women. Story 21. Follow Rule 1 and Rule 2. Get a dog and say, "Want to come meet?" Insert dog's name with a picture of the dog on your lock screen. Either it's a yes or no, but it's much more casual than asking, "Hey, want to come home with me?" Story 22. When I was younger, I was a huge fan of these. It felt like my entire purpose as a human was to slay this dragon as often as possible. For me, it was mostly about validation. If a woman was willing to sleep with me on the first meeting, then I must have been a fairly desirable guy. This made me feel better about myself until something else happened to make me feel worse. To combat that, I pursued one-night stands even harder to get that validation again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Occasionally, the sex would actually be good. In those cases, I almost always tried to convert the one-night stand into a relationship or at least friends with benefits. Eventually, I grew out of it, found my person, and married her. But my body count grew excessively high during the time before I met her. Story 23. Not everyone is up for or capable of having one-night stands, and that's perfectly okay. I think our view on sex, generally speaking, makes it seem so taboo that jumping into the sheets with a stranger is a monumental undertaking. Relax, it's just sex. I've had a lot of one-night stands, and the mindset is usually the same. I like you, you like me. We find each other attractive and fun, so why not? If you're single and have no one to be faithful to, why wouldn't you go out and explore? I had so much fun during my single days and learned so much about myself and how to please a partner by exploring different people, different bodies, different kinks, and desires. Story 24. Hi. How old are you, and where are you from? I must say that alcohol helps a lot. Generally, there is eye contact with the other person during the night out. Then at some point, one of us will start talking, making jokes. After a moment, if the connection is good, we will maybe have a drink together and continue talking. At some point, the guy tries to kiss me, still at the bar or at the end of the night when the bar closes. That's how it used to work for me when I was younger and going out in Europe anyway. Good times, and they never were one-night stands as I saw them again. Story 25. It's all about where you are mentally. If you are looking for a serious relationship, then one-night stands are not the way to go. Some people want their physical needs met but are not ready for something serious. Story 26. I only did it once, and it basically just confirmed for me that I'm not a one-night stand kind of guy, and that's okay. There was nothing wrong with the sex. It was perfectly decent, enjoyable sex, but I need some kind of emotional connection to really get anything out of it. The whole experience left me thinking, well, that was pointless. I might as well have just jerked off. It would have been just as satisfying and way less awkward. Story 27. It never seems like it's going to happen until I make the move. Want another drink? Yeah, I have a cat. Want to come meet her? Want a drink? Kiss, boom, pow. I have completely stopped this, though. Was intimate with a couple dozen women last year. Haven't had intimacy once this year. It's really not worth it. Story 28. Never done it myself. Personally, I think if you are able to do things like that, you have no respect for yourself and you view other people as objects rather than complex, living, breathing people with feelings and emotions. I find people that can do that to be disturbing, to be honest. Story 29. Getting laid is pretty cool. People who don't have the emotional bandwidth to have a whole courting process or committed relationship shouldn't be shut out from sex. Male or female. Story 30. Every now and then, I'll catch a girl checking me out or eyeing me up and down at a bar. I'm 6'5". Generally, if I catch this a couple of times from the same person, I know she's interested. More often than not, I'll find any old excuse to go talk to her, and at that stage, it's purely a physical attraction, so why make it anything more? I'll be upfront and tell her that I want to take her home and show her something at my place, like a fish tank or pool table or something obscure that most people don't have in their houses. We never end up looking at those anyway. Sometimes she will downright refuse, and hey, no judgment, but I don't let that get me down. I have found most women like guys who are direct, know what they want, and are vocal about it.